Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. YouTube users, click the bell so you're notified every time a new episode goes live. Guys, are you sick and tired of dropping $6,200 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline pay-per-views, do it all in the world of professional wrestling, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want your name in the shout-outs like my buddy John down in Texas, then hop on over to patreon.com/ProWrestlingPodcast. Sign up today to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, and don't forget loyalty rewards. $15 a month contributor, you get to co-host an episode with myself. $7.50 a month, you too can be entered into a drawing to host an episode with me. Hello everybody, welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, something you want us to get into in a future episode, shoot us a line over at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160, and we'll get to those in a future episode. Don't forget to check out our homepage, ProWrestling.com, for all things Pro Wrestling Podcast. With that being said, let's get into the news. First off, we haven't really had a reaction post since the Royal Rumble. I got to tell you, the first half of the Men's Royal Rumble, I was somewhat disappointed. I didn't see anything that really made me pop. I think, like a lot of people, the big thing that really got me, the first thing that really made the match explode for me was the Logan Paul Ricochet spot where they both leapt across the ring and collided midair and did their thing. I love the fact that Gunther lasted 71 minutes. Talk about strategically positioning a guy to be over going forward. I think you really did wonders for his career. And, of course, everybody wanting the feel-good story. They either wanted Sami Zayn or Cody Rhodes to win. Cody was the heavy favorite. Sami Zayn was the number 2 favorite. Zayn wasn't even in the match. And I do know there are some people who are frustrated with that, but I'm actually okay with it because of how the rest of the pay-per-view played out. In terms of Cody Rhodes, look, he's a star. The fans have gone crazy every time he's come out since his return to WWE. My only fear here is that Sami Zayn is over as much as he is. And what do you do now booking-wise with Sami Zayn and with Cody Rhodes in reference to Roman Reigns and the Universal and World Championships? Because if you book Sami Zayn to face Roman Reigns, which apparently the plan is at Elimination Chamber, is to have those two main event the show, and it'll be in Sami's hometown, which is fantastic. And apparently that's been the plan since way back in like October, early November. I'm fine with that. But the problem is Sami is so over. I can't see a scenario where you have him wrestle Roman Reigns and not win. So if Sami Zayn wins there, what do you do with Cody Rhodes at the WrestleMania pay-per-view? Are you really going to take the championship off Sami after all this buildup and all this excitement and the fans losing their mind? This, I've heard it compared to this, and I couldn't agree more. This almost feels like back in the day when Goldberg and Brock Lesnar had their first ever feud boiling in WWE right before they both left the company after WrestleMania. And I'll never forget that when Eddie Guerrero was going to face Brock Lesnar for the championship, nobody in their right mind thought that Eddie Guerrero had a snowball's chance to win the match. And as luck would have it, Eddie did win. And it absolutely, the fans exploded. It wasn't what they saw coming. And I think you could get that with Sami beating Roman Reigns. Even though I think people actually would expect him to win, I still don't think they're going to believe it until it happens. Kind of like Kofi Mania when that went down. And I wonder sometimes if this is one of those situations where WWE didn't foresee this level of success, and now that we're there, I think they're somewhat concerned about sponsorships and things like that as to whether or not Sami can carry the banner for the company, where I think they feel more comfortable that Cody could. Now, I get all that. But what do you do here? There's got to be a way to either split the championships, find a way to get Sami into the WrestleMania event, or do you have Roman wrestle back-to-back nights? I heard one person on the Wrestle Talk podcast, their show they do on YouTube, which is a great show if you ever get a chance to check it out. And I saw one of their listeners wrote in and said, we could have, a three-way match, kind of like the Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho match years ago when you had the Intercontinental and European Championships being defended in a three-way, and the first fall was for one championship and the second fall was the other one, and you ended up having different people win different championships. I think that would be insane, especially with the level of success that Sami's had building his character the last year, the level of excitement for Cody. The reality, though, is Cody Rhodes came back to win the WWE Championship, so you don't have to give him the Universal Championship. but how do you split them? And that's complicated because there's no easy way to do that without upsetting somebody. And what you don't want to do if you're WWE is you should not right now want to turn Cody Rhodes heel in any way, shape, or form. But you and I all, anybody listening to this show, we know the fans are smart and they want what they want. And right now they've been getting what they want. And I think at some point they're going to want too much because they want Sami really bad right now. But that can't come at the expense of losing Cody Rhodes as your top babyface. So I don't really have an easy solution for this. I actually thought that it might not have been a bad idea to have a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. This is the only proposal I could come up with, where Sami Zayn would win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Have him go to Mania, Roman faces Cody Rhodes, and he loses the WWE Championship. You could even write that into the storyline that Rhodes is like, I'm back for the WWE Championship. I didn't come here for the Universal Championship. I came here for the belt that my father never won, the WWE Championship. And you could make the match for that championship. And after Roman loses the championship to Cody Rhodes, have Sami cash in Money in the Bank and win the Universal Championship immediately following. I actually would be okay with that. Now, I got some people who are frustrated with that because they say, no, we want to see Sami work a whole match with Roman. I'm very sorry, but I have watched Roman go through everybody in the company for the last 2.5 years. I don't know how you could put Sami Zayn out there and build him to a level where he would be able to pull that off. Certainly not when he has lost more matches than he's won in the last year, and oftentimes looks like the guy who's out there just to take the fall. In addition, we had heard of the plans of the Usos dropping the Unified Tag Team Championship to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I don't know how we do that now that they have the Jey Uso thing going on. Obviously, he doesn't want to pick a side, and he wants to stick with Roman, but he also wants to support Sami. And I don't know what they're going to do with that either. I think Jey was the beginning of all this, so I would be fine if they circle back to Jey at some point. Giving my buddy Nate a shout for that thought. He actually texted me today. He's like, maybe they're going to circle back and have Jey and Roman. I don't think that happens just because of how popular Sami Zayn is right now, but I would understand that down the road. I'm not sure what you do. And I saw somebody say they should put the Universal Championship on the line at Elimination Chamber and have it be Roman, Sami, Jey, and Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa all in the match, all wrestling for that championship. And that sounds great on paper, except what are you really going to do? Are you going to have Sami go out there and as different Usos and Solo get released from their boxes, Sami goes through all the bloodline and then it's just him and Roman and somehow he pulls out the win there? I would actually love that. I actually think it's a great idea. But then you're cramming all those Uso eliminations into 5-minute intervals because otherwise you're going to have a multi-person beatdown and then it wouldn't be believable. I'm still in favor of it, but it just wouldn't be believable. And I don't know if the fans would like that heading into WrestleMania season. And then what do you do with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania? Do you have a rematch with Roman? What do you do? I'm not sure. I don't care how they do it. I just think right now you've got two golden gooses sitting in WWE, or two golden geese, Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn, and you got to find something important for both of them to do at WrestleMania. Gunther, I spoke about him earlier. The plan right now for him at WrestleMania apparently is a 3-way match for the Intercontinental Championship with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. And what frustrates me about this is we're only a couple years removed from Drew McIntyre being the hottest thing in WWE, and now he's pushed down the card so much that he's an Intercontinental challenger. And I hate that. But what are you going to do? Same thing with Seth Rollins. I mean, I'm sure after the Royal Rumble, Seth Rollins is probably going to have his match with Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I'm fine with that. I think it'll be an interesting match. But Seth Rollins is a world championship contender. He really is. So you kind of have to put him in position to do something at that level, but you can't right now. He's fine wrestling Logan Paul because I actually think those two may steal the show at WrestleMania because they're going to do everything they can to put on the best match possible. But what do you do with the rest of the card? I'm not in love with the Intercontinental Championship proposition because I really wanted to see Gunther and Brock. And when they teased that at the Rumble, I got very excited. It was the first time I've actually seen them face to face, and I was like, yes. This is a match I would absolutely be into, and I'd be on the edge of my seat waiting to see who'd win because I don't know who they'd book to win the match, and I'd be okay with either man winning, especially if they had a rematch down the pike. So now that it looks like they're going away from that and going with Brock and Lashley, which we've seen before. I knew we were going to have a third match. I wish it would have been at the Rumble to get that out of the way, and it would have cleared the way for the Gunther-Brock match. But now I guess maybe they hold off on Brock and Gunther for SummerSlam or something like that, or maybe next year's Mania. I just don't want to wait too long because it's a match that needs to happen, especially after you saw the fan reaction when those two came nose to nose at the Royal Rumble. Other WrestleMania news and notes and Royal Rumble reactions, the Rhea Ripley winning, again, odds-on favorite. I didn't love that she picked Charlotte on Raw to be her opponent at Mania. I would have preferred Bianca Belair, which would have been an interesting thing if she would have won against Bianca and Charlotte could have retained the SmackDown Women's Championship for the whole year and had the two of them face off next year, not this year, and unify the Women's Championships. Because I really believe that unifying the titles is perfectly okay. I really do. I hate having the split. The only thing that helps with the split is you get more champions and more championship matches. But as long as you're putting on quality matches, I don't think there always has to be a belt on the line. And that's kind of what WWE's been doing with this brand split. It's like AEW with their championships and the Ring of Honor championships being defended on the same show. I don't think it's necessary. Speaking of other titles, Austin Theory's title being defended at Elimination Chamber, I don't know how I feel about that either. All right, to be honest with you, I really thought that we were heading into WrestleMania season, heading in a direction of John Cena taking on Austin Theory at Mania. And maybe that's still in the cards, but apparently John Cena's schedule heading into the road to WrestleMania is incredibly busy. He's already started pre-production and filming of some of the things that he's going to be working on through that time period, and it's going to complicate his availability for WrestleMania. So then what are you doing with Austin Theory at WrestleMania? It's another complicated piece of the puzzle. You need star power. You're going to Hollywood. They thought they could have gotten The Rock. That's not going to happen. They thought they could get Cena, and now apparently that might be up in the air and not be happening. Who are you going to bring in? The Stone Cold conversation was going on, but apparently that fell through. So who do you bring in to make WrestleMania really pop in the fans' eyes? And if you're telling me that a third Bobby Lashley-Brock Lesnar match is what you're shooting for, I don't know that does it for me. I don't think that the Charlotte and Rhea thing is terrible. I actually think it's a relatively decent proposal. And it should be one of it honestly should headline night one, if you ask me. But what else do you have going on there? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I think that WWE definitely, normally in previous years, they would have had such a convoluted list of matches already thought up that I'm actually kind of shocked that they haven't done more to get this whole pay-per-view ready to go. Now, speaking of future pay-per-views, apparently, according to a report published this week, there will be a Clash at the Castle 2. Tyson Fury was in an interview with GiveMeSport.com where he talked about his aspirations in WWE. He said he's hoping to go back there soon. Yeah, in the past, they have offered to have him come in full-time. There's some complications with some allegations about who he's aligned with and whatnot. But Clash at the Castle 2 apparently is a go for this year, at least according to him, and he would be involved in that in some way, shape, or form. Quite frankly, after hearing his attitude and not wanting to put anybody over and keep his reputation and whatnot, I don't really care to see him again. He didn't really impress me in the first time we saw him in the ring, so I don't know that I'm dying to see him wrestle. Now, if he wants to come in and commit the kind of effort that people like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul have, then sure, come on in, work a match, that's great. But right now, there's nothing about him coming in that is exciting to me. Just touching on it briefly, Women's Royal Rumble match, much better, I think, if you look bell to bell than the men's. But the Men's Royal Rumble match, the two things I really loved is, one, the match, the second half of the match was off the chain. Absolutely fantastic, spectacular, tons of high spots, great performers. Not a lot of filler wrestlers this year, which is a testament to how strong the WWE roster is right now. And the other thing is, normally, when you get down to the final two guys, they're in and out in about 2 minutes. That was not the case this year. Cody came in at 30. Some people, I think, were annoyed with that. I think it was genius in WWE's part. I concur with Wrestle Talk News, who also reported this week that they thought it was a great idea because when you knew there was only one entrant left and Cody had to be coming at some point, it eliminated the possibility of people getting upset that it wasn't Sami Zayn because you already knew Cody had to be in the Rumble. But then everybody, I think, thought Cody was going to be out there for 5 minutes. It was going to be over. Turns out, when everybody else is eliminated, he had like a 15-minute match with Gunther, and that's fantastic. Hard hitting, great action, start to finish. The end of that match was just one of the best I've seen. The women's match, solid, top to bottom, front to back. I thought it was a great show. I was even impressed with the Pitch Black match. I thought that was shockingly well done for how bad I expected it to be. Really, the whole show, top to bottom, was pretty successful. I think it was one of their best pay-per-views they've had in a very long time. And they're not the only ones. Let's be very honest. AEW knocking it out of the park too. Dynamite was fantastic this week. The Hangman Page Jon Moxley match, probably their best match they've had yet in their sequence of matches. And it makes it weird because it's their third opportunity that we've seen them, and it makes you want more because they delivered so well in this one. Jade Cargill defending the TBS title, getting her 50th match win or whatever. That's fantastic. And of course, the insane brutality of Samoa Joe and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. The only thing I didn't like is, I don't know why you even put the belt on Darby Allin if you were going to take it off him that fast. I understand he wrestled every week in pretty much every show, and he did a great job as champion, but that's why you don't take the belt off him. If you only took the belt off of Joe because Wardlow was injured and you wanted to have some other excitement going on while these things were working their way out, I get it, but I just don't like the booking. I love Wardlow coming back, but let's be honest, I'm kind of over him being in the TNT title picture. I'm ready for him to be a world championship contender, and going back to mess around with Samoa Joe, what's going to happen? He's going to win that belt again, and that's going to delay his main event elevation. If he doesn't win that belt again, he doesn't look like he is a main event level challenger. Both of those are problematic, so I feel like they've booked themselves into a corner here, and I'm not a huge fan of how they're doing that. They need something to really pop the people and bring some excitement. I mean, maybe you do that with a new signing. I know Kota Ibushi, the big news this week, he officially is done with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's got strong ties to the guys in AEW, part of the Golden Lovers with Kenny Omega, has a long history with the Young Bucks. I even saw Will Ospreay posted a goodbye message to him on social media. It'll be interesting to see where Kota Ibushi goes. If I'm WWE, I'd be making a huge offer to him as well. I know he doesn't want to work the crazy full-time schedule, but perhaps he can negotiate something into a contract. I think he'd be a great acquisition for anybody who gets him. He is already slated to be at a couple events during WrestleMania weekend, but let's be honest, those events he could have his booking changed and go to WWE or AEW and really make an impact and be valuable. And I think that's what they need. And the last bit of news for tonight, horrible news coming out today. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was the one who broke the news to the wrestling world. The passing at 68 years old of somebody who I consider to be a legend because they were so adaptable. And that's Leaping Lanny Poffo, or the genius Lanny Poffo, the brother of the Macho Man Randy Savage, the son of Angelo Poffo. I really feel like the least heralded, but maybe the most talented in a lot of ways, performer in that family. Look, I'm not crapping on Angelo Poffo doing like sit-up world records and things like that. I'm not crapping on the Macho Man. I think he's one of the best superstars in the history of the business, and I would take nothing from them. That's not what I'm talking about. Lanny Poffo's ability to be the baby face for all those years, writing all the poems and saying them to the kids and putting smiles on faces and throwing frisbees, and then converting to this evil genius character, working with his work with Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig was just fantastic stuff. And the way he code switched between being the babyface with all the poems to being just a complete jerk with the poems. And then afterwards, after the Macho Man passed away, campaigning for Macho Man Randy Savage to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, all the while never mentioning himself. And let's be honest, he really, if you're going to put people like Coco Beware and Hillbilly Jim and people like that in the Hall of Fame, why not Lanny Poffo? I think his contributions, let's be honest, this is the guy who was there the night that Kurt Hennig took the WWE Championship belt and took a hatchet to it and broke it into a bunch of pieces later to become the hardcore title. He was there for that angle. It's one of the biggest angles in WWE history. He got beat up by Hulk Hogan all throughout that feud whenever Kurt Hennig would slide out of the ring during his feud with Hulk Hogan. He really played a prominent role, much bigger role than some of the people who are in the Hall of Fame. So I think he's somebody who would be very well deserving, and hopefully at some point WWE does that for him. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next time. We'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing any sound and music we use in our shows. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, or you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life educational planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us tonight. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.